From our 22 News Broadcast Center, this is 22 News in Focus.
Good Sunday afternoon. Welcome to 22 News in Focus. I'm Ashley Afonso. In 2 weeks, many children and college students will be heading back to school. Families are starting to get into that back to school mode, and that can be a crazy time for parents who are scrambling to update immunizations, reestablish more structured eating, television and bedtime routines while shopping for clothes and school supplies and incorporating new activities like sports. Today on 22 News in Focus, we'll be talking about ways parents and students can plan for a stress-free transition into their new routines. Joining me now to talk about health-related services and issues is Dr. Marianne Debonate. Thank you for being here with us today, a pediatrician with Bay State Children's Hospital.
Yes, I go by Dr. Marianne to my patients, and I'm a general pediatrician at Bay State General Pediatrics and also assistant professor in pediatrics at University of Massachusetts Bay State.
All right, well, thank you. So first of all, let's talk about, we're 2 weeks out now. Now we really need to start thinking about that routine. How do we go about that?
Absolutely. Oh, we're getting so many visits in clinic about this, and it's an amazing time to really touch base with the family and our patients about getting back to school. Usually, for kids going to preschool or kindergarten, there's a lot of questions like, how do we get them kind of acclimated to that new environment? They're so nervous. Helping to establish a sleep schedule, for example, is one of the first advice I give. Like, for example, trying to recreate the time that you'll go to sleep for school and the time that you'll wake up. And also that will help you kind of get ready for the school, getting your backpack ready. Just having that sleep structure in mind is great. Sometimes also knowing what route you're going to walk to school would be really great for kids to not be as stressed when they're going back to school. But yeah, starting, so 2 weeks is a perfect time to start getting that sleep structure planned out now, so that the night before school you're not there's not a frenzy to figure things out with the sleep schedule.
All right, and here in Massachusetts, there are certain immunizations that are required. Can we talk about some of those?
Absolutely. Definitely for our children, we do a great job at Bay State. We're a family center medical home, so we can let you know which immunizations you're due for before school. Definitely for our 4 to 5 year old kiddos, we definitely need to get their measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella vaccines, and also a booster of their, we call them Tdap, and then the polio vaccine. So we call those our 4 to 5 year old vaccines. So that's a huge visit to the clinic. For our teenagers and also for our adolescents, we have the 11-year-old vaccines, which includes the meningococcal vaccine and another one of your Tdap. So those are just kind of some of the big visits that we like to have the parent be aware of, so that they can make sure they're not waiting till the last minute to get those vaccines.
Okay, and if you have waited until the last minute, is there still time to get in?
Oh, absolutely. Our clinic is, we try to do a really great job about accommodating and working with the parent schedule. So if you're starting to feel that crunch time, just go ahead and call your office. They can let you know what vaccines they're due for and what you think they are due for, and they'll try to get you in right away. Our clinic, we do a great job of having like a nurse visit, where if they, for example, can't get a physical in at a certain amount of time, they can at least get the nurse visit to get the vaccines and then schedule the physical at a later date. But I think we do a good job getting them both in at the same time, in a timely manner.
Okay, now what about if your child suffers from a health condition like asthma or has some kind of allergy? Those things require medication that needs to go to the school nurse. How do you go about getting that and staying organized and on top of it?
Yeah, that's a good question. We do a really great job about creating healthcare plans. So, for example, if we have children with chronic asthma, they need an albuterol pump to help with their asthma. During emergencies, we create a little medicine authorization form that says that they can get the albuterol, for example, every 4 hours as needed for cough or trouble breathing, or 15 minutes before exercise. So we do a form for that, and just calling your clinic and then asking, creating a request for that, we can get a really fast turnaround for that paperwork. And then so for allergies, for food, we also create a medicine form for that, and having an epinephrine pen, an EpiPen available, and when to use it and what to do after you use it is part of the medicine authorization form.
Okay, now let's talk about back to school anxiety. So whether you're going into kindergarten, your freshman year of high school, college, these transitions can be a little bit of a shock.
Yeah.
What do you recommend?
Yeah, so Alyssa mentioned before, for our kids going to kindergarten, which I'm seeing a lot of in the clinic, again, emphasizing that sleep schedule at least 2 weeks prior to the first day of school is going to be huge. And then kind of recreating the days leading up to the first day of school, how you pack your backpack, where your backpack is going to be, the route we're going to take to go to school, and sometimes even connecting with other classmates in your same grade before that first day might be helpful for them too. So that can kind of help out with this anxiety by kind of recreating the environment the few days before school would be awesome. So definitely do that and consider that.
Okay, now let's talk about meals. You're coming from the summer where you're at home, you can grab a snack whenever you want to, but now you need to keep your energy up throughout the day and you only eat at lunch. What do you recommend?
So we always say the breakfast is a very important meal of the day. So having that breakfast, even if it's like a granola bar, a banana, or before going to school would be recommended. Some schools offer breakfast, and also can help with meal plans for lunch, but just starting the day off right with breakfast would be great. And then having lunch at school would just be helpful in terms of creating a routine which kind of gets lost in the summertime. But being in that structured environment, you can get back into your routine of healthy eating and whatnot.
Okay, now something we've heard a lot about is backpacks and how much they weigh.
Yeah.
So how do you scale that? Obviously it depends on the age of the child.
Absolutely.
And what size backpack.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I've been getting that question a lot too in clinic. Having a comfortable backpack is huge, and also emphasizing that kids should be using them on both shoulders and not just one shoulder, even though it might seem cool and hip for some reason. I used to do that when I was a kid, but having it on both shoulders, and then the weight of it should typically, I think the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that it's not more than 10 to 20% of the body weight. But really, it's just, hey, asking your kid, like, hey, is this heavy for you? Can you walk comfortably without having a sore back throughout the school day? And in terms, so that would be a big recommendation, just making sure that the weight is not too heavy. There are some families and some schools who can opt to have the wheel backpacks. It depends on the school and the preference of the family, but just starting off with a backpack you're using on both shoulders would be a great help.
What are some of the implications if you are carrying around a backpack that's too heavy for you?
Yeah, well, I would say that, for example, carrying a backpack on one shoulder could cause some inadvertent strain on one side of the body, making that side, having more muscle strain on that side. And you could really feel the effects later on in the day, maybe even after school. So preventing that would be, way to do that would be carrying it on both sides and evenly distributing the weight to both sides of your shoulders and on your back.
Okay, now let's talk about sports, after-school sports. Yeah. First of all, do children that are playing sports need a special kind of physical, or do they go through the same thing every other child?
Yeah, so when you have your physical, you will have a physical, your routine physical, but there's also in Massachusetts a special form, the acronym is MIAA form, and it's a special form that athletes will have to have completed, and it's a great form. It talks, it's a kind of a survey about if there's any chronic illnesses that your child has, any injuries in the past, any cardiac history or heart history, concussion history, and it's just a great, very thorough form just to make sure your child is ready to participate in this sport for the year, and also to make sure that if there's any injuries in the past, like a sprained ankle, we have to make sure that those injuries are healed and you're going to rehabilitation nicely before going back into school into this new sport.
All right, back to school. Is there anything else you think parents need to know about in terms of health?
In terms of just make sure that you connect with your pediatrics clinic. They're great in terms of for family-centered medical home. Just seeing you and your child and having them, knowing their child as they go through their life stages, and gives you great uninterrupted care. So they can definitely let you know any updates to their physical, their vaccines. Just reconnect with your pediatrician would be my recommendation.
All right, thank you so much for being here with us.
No problem.
Public school districts are preparing to welcome students back after the break. Find out how you can make this transition smoother for you and your child. You're watching 22 News in Focus. Welcome back to 22 News in Focus. Today we're talking about back-to-school strategies for parents and students. Whether your child attends a large or small school, there are logistics involving transportation, before and after school activities, and other details that make up a school day. Joining me now to discuss some of those details is Superintendent of Springfield Public Schools, Daniel Warwick. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so first of all, Springfield is such a large school district. It's probably easy for parents to get lost in all of the information. What's the best way to find out which school your child needs to be attending and all of the activities that go along with it?
We have a Parent and Community Engagement Center in Springfield, located down on School Street, right on the bus lines, so parents can do all the enrollment and get any questions answered there. But the best source of information is always the local school, and once you know which school you're going to check in with that school and ask any questions you might have.
Is there also a way online that parents can check in?
We have everything on our website, and all the phone numbers, all the contact information, everything else right on our website for the Springfield Public Schools.
Okay, let's talk now about Springfield's a little different in the way that usually most students are walking to school. There's not quite as many school buses. So can you talk about that a little bit and how the schools are located around the neighborhoods?
Sure. Back in 2005, we went to a neighborhood school plan. So 75% of our kids now in the elementary and middle school actually walk to school, but we still have a large number of students who need transportation to school. For elementary students, if you live more than 1.5 mile away from the school, we provide transportation, or 2 for our secondary students 2 miles away. Bus routes are all published. We have them on our website, and again, the school can give parents information about the bus routes.
Okay, and what about transportation for students with special needs?
So special ed transportation has grown every year. We have a large number of students who happen to have transportation in their individualized education plan, and for those students who requires a special transportation bus, we actually go to the door of their house and actually get them at their door and bring them to the school.
What has the feedback been from parents since you have started doing this walking plan where a lot of the kids walk? You drive down any road in Springfield and you see so many parents walking with their kids to school every morning.
I just think it's great for kids and parents to have a school in their neighborhood because of the access. You know, parents really need to be involved in their child's schooling, and to have that school in the neighborhood where they can access it, because a lot of our parents under the old plan didn't even know where the schools were or couldn't access them during the day when they needed to. So I think it's really helped us with parent engagement, which is so important. And I really think the school ought to be the focal point for the community, and having that neighborhood school I think is very important.
And what do the teachers think about this? Are teachers now able to interact with parents a little more?
Oh, sure. Trying to get parents involved, working on the parent engagement piece is crucial in educating children, and having the ability to schedule conferences, get to parents, have parents access to school is so very important.
Okay, I know you guys have been increasing your breakfast programs over the past several years, so talk a little bit about that and what's available.
Yeah, we offer free breakfast and free lunch to every student in the Springfield Public Schools. We actually now do breakfast in the classroom even after the school day begins. Breakfast, as Dr. Benatai just said, is so important. So we make sure everyone gets a good breakfast to start the day, and we also provide a quality lunch program. And we just are setting up now a culinary and nutrition center. We're going to process all of our own foods, give the kids a lot of fresh, local vegetables and fruits that are all processed here in Springfield, all grown here. And so we're not only going to provide a great service for our kids, but a much healthier lunch and breakfast.
And is that something that some of the older kids will be able to eventually get involved with?
Well, we've already done it in all of our high schools even. So our kids are all getting breakfast in the classroom, even at the high school level. We've gone K to 12 with it. We're the first school system in the state that's taken it K to 12. But it's so important for our kids, actually pre-K to 12.
That was my next question. You guys are one of the first in the region to do this, right?
Yeah, it's very exciting, but so important. And all the studies support the importance of nutrition. And that breakfast is so vital. And a lot of times, a lot of families, youngsters would come in and start the day without breakfast. They'd end up going home sick. So this has really been something we've had a big focus on. And there's a lot of research to support that it actually helps all day, helps with the academic progress for kids also.
Have you noticed some differences since then?
Yeah, less trips to the nurse, less students going home, improved attendance. It's really made a difference.
All right, what are you most looking forward to this year in Springfield for the students?
We're always so excited to get the kids back after the summer. We've had some great years. We've spent $45 million renovating our buildings this summer, and over $600 million over the last 10 years. So the kids are going to go back to buildings that are in great shape, and a wonderful staff that's second to none anywhere.
Okay, so we're about 2 weeks away now. What should parents be thinking about, particularly for Springfield students?
So the first thing I always tell parents is don't wait till the last minute to register for school. We have a parent and community engagement center. You can actually register online now to make it easier for parents, but register early. If you have any questions, if a child has some ELL or special ed needs, go to the Parent and Community Engagement Center. We have staff to deal with those issues also, get all the testing done we have to do ahead of time so they have a smooth transition to school. But don't wait till the last minute, go in ahead of time. Another thing I always tell parents is visit the school. Make sure you go ahead of time. And if your child's going to be walking to school or walking to the bus, walk with them to those venues ahead of time. Make sure you're following a safe walk path and have them prepared for school.
What's your advice for parents who want to get involved in their child's school? How do they do so?
I would encourage that for all parents. I think it's vital. And I think just reach out to the school. Our schools all know how important parental involvement is, and we have venues to encourage that. In fact, in Springfield, we have a parent facilitator to encourage that process in every school. So you can reach out to the parent facilitator, and they can guide that parent involvement.
There are people of a lot of different nationalities in Springfield, and I'm sure there's a lot of parents who themselves don't speak English. What are the options to communicating with the school?
We have a tremendously diverse staff, and we're very aware of the language needs of a lot of our populations. And for the first year, for some of our ELL students that are coming to Springfield for the first time, we've created some newcomer centers with specialized language programs. So we have staff that speak the language and will be there to greet them.
So before they integrate into the classroom, they're able to...
Yeah, we offer a specialized program for the kids who need it also. We have ESL services and ELL services for all of our kids.
Okay. Now, how about the first day of school? Is there a tour of the school that day, or does that happen the day before that?
Yeah, I always encourage parents, go see the school. Call the school, go in ahead of time, let your child see the school. We do that, open that up for parents in the spring. But if you haven't seen it yet and your child hasn't seen it, I'd go by ahead of time. Ask the principal to visit the school. I think that really helps and ease any anxiety a child might have.
Okay, now let's talk about anxiety students might have. What is your advice for parents trying to ease that?
Well, as a former long-term elementary principal, we used to deal with the parents coming in and dropping their children off for kindergarten who hadn't been in school in the past. And I would always tell the moms and dads that once they come into school, they're going to be absolutely fine, and you're having a much tougher time than they're going to in a couple of minutes when they get with their classmates. So I'd say go ahead of time, make sure they're prepared, but the kids will be absolutely fine and settle into school, and the staff will be there to meet their every need.
And the nice thing about this neighborhood plan is a lot of these kids live in their neighborhood,
They live
right?
in the neighborhood. The schools are a focal point for the neighborhood. We have a lot of activities at night in the schools, so a lot of the recreation activities are there. So I think it's a natural for kids, and I think it really eases that burden of going to school the first day.
Okay, and one thing I forgot to ask about walking to school. Can kids also bike?
Kids can bike to school. We always warn parents, just be very careful, make sure you've checked the safe paths and that kind of a thing. And we have safe walk paths to every school that we outline for families, and we have crossing guards ready and available. But I think with biking, I think I see a lot of students who, even this summer, as on our way here, we saw students out riding bikes, no helmets on, those kind of things. So I'd wear a helmet and I'd be extra careful with traffic. The traffic is heavy around all of our schools. We have about 75% students who are classified as walkers, but a lot of parents drop off. So if a student's biking to school, they want to be very, very cognizant of the extra traffic at arrival and dismissal time.
Okay. We'll continue our conversation after a short break. You're watching 22 News in Focus. Watching 22 News in Focus. Today we're talking about helping students get ready to return to school. We're continuing our conversation with Daniel Woolrick, the superintendent of Springfield Public Schools. So let's talk now about all of those documents that parents need to bring. Proof of shots, proof of residency, all of that stuff. How do you get organized, and where does all of that need to go?
So we actually have a way parents can actually send it all in online now. But at our Parent and Community Engagement Center, they have a list. It's all online, exactly what you need. You can either file it online or go there personally and provide those documentation. The immunizations are the key. That's part of Massachusetts state law, but proof of residency is vital also.
Okay, and let's talk about the laws involving enrollment in schools. The age that children need to be attending school.
Yeah, so for our schools, it's 5 by September 1st for kindergarten. We also have a preschool program for 3- and 4-year-olds.
Okay, and parents have the option for the preschool?
Yes, if they sign up early, they can get into our preschool programs. We still have openings.
Okay,
Absolutely.
So you don't have to do like a lottery for preschool at this point right now?
We don't. We have openings, but again, I think the sooner people sign up, the better. But we do have openings for our preschool program. We're trying to really focus on educating more kids in preschool and giving them that running start for kindergarten, which is so important in the urban areas, that kids get a jump start so they're not behind coming into school in kindergarten.
Okay. Now let's also talk, we saw a lot of parents and students come from Puerto Rico this past year to our region. What was that transition like for your schools?
We have served a large population of immigrants for years, and we've always had a large population from Puerto Rico. So we have set up an ELL program in every school in Springfield. So when we did get this influx, we were prepared programmatically, and all of our kids could still go to their neighborhood schools and receive the services, because we have those services in every school now. So it really was a smooth transition. Very, very proud of our staff and the community, the way they adopted these families and made them part of the community. But it went really well, and we had 1/4 of the entire population in the state come into Springfield. We had over 600 students enroll. But it went great. We had the program to accommodate their needs, and I'm very, very proud of our staff for dealing with these families so well.
Yeah, that's a large number of people coming in the middle of the school year.
Yeah, it was a huge influx.
So are a lot of those students getting ready to enroll for their second year
here? They were
here?
already enrolled, so they just have to go back to the school they went to. And by moving our ELL program into every school, it gave families the access in their neighborhood, which I think was so important, and made the whole process flow so much easier. But we have when students are coming in and they have ELL needs, we always again encourage folks to enroll early. We get the students tested, find out what their needs are, and then have the program available at that school to meet their needs.
Okay, and speaking of language, when do different language classes start for your students, and what different languages are available? Obviously Spanish, right?
Well, we have a whole host of foreign language options for our students through the different grade levels, and we provide support services for over 55 languages in the Springfield Public Schools. So we're there to meet every need. We have a significant ESL program at every school to support those students in their acquisition of English.
Does that start for English-speaking students learning a second language? Does that start at the middle school age, or?
No, we also have that program available in some elementary schools.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Starting really young.
But all of our middle schools and high schools have it.
Okay. Now let's talk about you've been through all of this. Elementary school, you've worked as the principal. What is advice that parents maybe don't know about that you would have for them going into this to make it an easy transition?
I'd say that the key to everything is preparing early, Make sure you enroll early. Make sure you establish some patterns early. Make sure you followed the path to school with your child. They know the safe walk path, either to school or the bus stop. Make sure you've actually visited the school with your child, because I think that'll make the transition so much easier, and gone over everything with them. And actually visit the school and ask a lot of questions of staff at the school. I think that'll really ease people's anxiety as they enter a new school.
Everyone's really excited right now, but
Yeah.
a couple months, maybe not even, that excitement starts to drop off. How do you stay on top of your child's schoolwork?
I think, parents are so important. It's so important every day to establish patterns for sleep, patterns for homework. Making sure we have a lot available online now for parents where they can check in on their students' grades and homework. So checking a student's book bag every day, their backpack, looking through their books, looking through, making sure you follow through on their assignments and you're staying on top of things. And if you have any questions, you can either email, call the school, have a conference with a teacher. Don't let things slide. Stay on top of things, stay ahead of things. And parent engagement is so important for a child to succeed in school.
If a child does start falling behind, what services are available to catch them back up?
We have an array of services available at every school. We have specialized intervention programs, tutoring programs, before and after school programs, summer school programs. So there's a host of programs available to help students who have needs. If a student has special needs, we have an array of special ed programs also available. But even in regular education, we have an array of supports available to every family. Thing to do is meet with the teacher and ask about those supports and get them set up.
And that's another thing, parent-teacher conferences. When do those start, and how important is it that a parent goes?
I just think it's critical that parents are involved from an early process on, and the more parents request it, teachers are always available for a conference. So I would encourage parents to get involved and right away.
So within the first couple of weeks, you could have a conference if you felt
Absolutely.
need be. Okay. Now let's talk about after-school activities. What are some of the things that Springfield has available, and what's really popular right now with students?
We have a host of activities in after-school programs through many vendors, the YMCA, Boys Club, many vendors through Springfield, Taekwondo, and we have a host of after-school academic activities available through the schools. So there's a lot available to fit the needs of working families and people with their busy lives, and the school would be able to go over those programs with you. We have some parents who need before and after school, and I know the YMCA provides that, even with transportation for a lot of our schools. So there's a lot available for parents, and I would just contact the school and go over exactly what's available.
So some students are able to go to the Y and then take a bus or something to their school if it's not in the neighborhood?
Yeah, and then also at the end of the day, if the parent can't pick up, they can provide transportation back down to the Y to an after-school program, or the Boys Club, and every school has a different array of programs available.
Okay. Athletics-wise, what's the big sport right now?
Well, what we've done is, and really excited about this, 7 or 8 years ago, the school committee, in spite of some difficult financial challenges, reinstated middle school sports, which is pretty exciting for all of our kids. And for the first time last year, we brought lacrosse in.
Oh, wow.
For our kids, so our high school students can have the opportunity to engage in lacrosse. Our sports program is growing every year. The extracurriculars are so important for kids. It's so important for high school kids, middle school kids to be involved with some activity, be it sports, band, music. ROTC is very popular. And when we look at the data, our kids who are engaging in those extra activities actually do better in school and graduate at a much higher rate.
All right. Students going to college face a new set of challenges as they make their way into the adult world. We'll discuss ideas for making that transition when we return. You're watching 22 News in Focus. Welcome back to 22 News in Focus. Today we're talking about back-to-school strategies for parents and students. Entering college is probably one of the most significant transitions in a young person's life since beginning kindergarten. For those who are going away to college, it may be the first time. being away from home, and it can also be a feeling of both liberation and being overwhelmed by the sudden real adult responsibilities. Most college and universities offer resources for students to help them with any problems that may come up during that transition. Joining me now to discuss college life is Nick Collini, co-coordinator of the Academic Resource Center at American International College in Springfield. Nick, thanks for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So first of all, let's start from the beginning of this process. When you're still in high school and you're looking at different colleges and universities, what do you recommend to parents to make the best choice for that student?
You definitely want to go out and take a tour, visit the school. You want to find out as much information as you can about it and see if the fit is right for you. Do they have your major? Is the size going to be a good fit? If you're an athlete, what the programs that they have there. So you want to try to do as much research as you can so that you can make a good decision and hopefully make a decision one time and one time only.
Okay, and now as we're getting closer, incoming freshmen, what advice do you have to them to get acclimated? And do they come a little bit sooner? Do they move in a little sooner on your campus?
Our students this year, the new students are coming in about 3 days earlier for a new student orientation. And when they get there, you want to try to engage the school as soon as you can. Ultimately, you want to try to find a person. It doesn't necessarily matter who that person is, but a person that can be your kind of go-to person that you can become comfortable with, develop a relationship with, and that you're comfortable finding out and asking any questions that you might have, because you're going to have a lot as you transition. There's so many new variables that are involved with going into college that you're on your own for the first time. You got to make all these adult decisions, and nobody's necessarily looking over your shoulder checking on those. So you want to have somebody that if you run into some issues or just have questions, you feel comfortable going into and talking to them and saying, what can I do about this?
Okay, and what does that 3-day orientation look like for those freshmen?
For us this year, it's really based a lot on becoming acquainted with the college. So they're going to have different activities that they're going to be involved with. There could be a couple of administrative pieces to it of just connecting them with the campus and any kind of final things they need to have. Obviously the move-in process, but really it's just a time to kind of have fun, enjoy, and create some of those relationships that I was talking about, student-wise, administrative-wise, advisor-wise, so that, you know, when the other students come in and they start their classes, they've already kind of got a base underneath them.
Okay, a lot of students enter undecided in their major. What resources are available to help students with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's very common, and I think one of the biggest things is to help students understand that that's okay. You don't have to know what you're going to do or what you're going to major in as a 17 or 18-year-old coming into college. So, you know, it starts with your advisor and having conversations with them, and they'll reach out to you and you're going to meet with them, talk with them, again, develop that relationship. Hopefully that's one of those people that you really strongly develop that relationship with. And then they can triage you to the right place. So our career services department is a great place to go and talk about, you know, what the options are. They have a great majors fair each year that's in collaboration with some of the other local schools as well. And then it's trying to take some of the different classes that you might be interested. So you almost try to work backwards of what might you be interested in. Okay, let's try to take some of the classes that are based in that area, see if you like them. If you don't, we can go in a different direction. If you do, then you go there. And you can also do some job shadowing. So again, if you have an area that you are, we'll have a connection to somewhere. You can say, okay, go spend a day with them and see what they actually do, and if you like it.
Okay, for a lot of students, as we just mentioned, this is the first time they're really leaving home and on their own. What resources are available to help them stay on track?
I mean, AIC, one of the strengths is our small school, and it's very high touch, and hopefully you've developed a network. So it kind of all goes back to developing those relationships with different people. So if you're an athlete with your coach, it could be with a faculty member. We have our Center for Academic Success, which has a number of different departments in it to help them academically stay on track, whether it's tutoring or our writing center, the Academic Resource Center, our ACE program, which is a federally funded TRIO program for first-generation or low-income students, our developmental education program. We also have a care team, which is a group of professionals that will look at students that have some type of concerning behavior. So that's more of a behavior side of it compared to the academic side. So there's a lot of early intervention that we'll have to try to get students early if something is going, you know, in a negative direction, so that we can try to figure out what it is, because each of them is different and they're all going to have a different reason as to why things aren't going well. And you know, part of our responsibility and role is to figure out what is that reason and get them to open up to us so that we can help address and get them in the right areas.
Is that something that the student has to realize on their own, or can a teacher recommend that they seek some of these services?
It's both. You know, so a student may realize it and come into somebody's office. Again, that comfort person. I'm going to keep going back to that. But we also have systems in place that really any staff member, any faculty member could submit some type of academic alert or a care alert on a student, and then that will start a process to reach out to the student and sit down and figure out, you know, different techniques and different implementations we can put in place to help them.
For a student that might be feeling a little bit of homesickness the first couple weeks, what activities are out there for students to get involved in and kind of keep themselves busy?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of clubs and organizations, you know, intramural program. You know, so those are probably the big basis of it, you know, are your athletics programs, and kind of everybody always assumes that, well, athletes don't get homesickness, and they do. And you can get homesickness for a lot of different reasons. So, you know, it could be missing someone or somebody. You know, we have a pet therapy dog on campus, and that really comes into play too, and students can find comfort in that as well. So again, there's so many resources out there in different departments. It doesn't have to be one specific person. It's just finding that person to really help you along.
The pet therapy dog on campus every day?
I believe so. Yeah, Woody is a mainstay. Visits some offices on a regular basis, and again, just brings a lot of comfort to people.
Yeah, that's fun. All right, now, international is in the name of your college. Do you get a lot of international students who are coming to the U.S. for the first time, maybe, or for college?
We do, definitely, and I think it's a cross-section of just international students coming for the academics, and then a big part of it coming for the athletic purposes as well. So, you know, we have an international advisor that will help them facilitate that process, because it can be a daunting process, and certainly is extra tasks that, you know, our American students don't have to face. And then coming here and facing some of the culture shock and changes to get accustomed to it, and sometimes it's a full language barrier as well.
How do you guys make sure as a college that they're integrated into the campus life?
You know, again, it's trying to develop those relationships. So again, with a lot of them being athletes, their coach will take a big role in it. Our international advisor will be a big piece of it. We've had an international club, so it's just an area for them to get together as a group, and they may not be in that same language area, but to discuss some of the culture changes that they're facing, to ask some of the questions, and feel comfortable asking them, because they're in a group that, you know, other people have that same question, with something as simple as a phrase of, you know, what's up, may not make sense to them at all. So, you know, and then just trying to, you know, engage them with other students, you know, help facilitate them to our clubs and organizations, and try to get in, you know, have them join and take part in those.
All right. And we will continue this conversation after a short break. You're watching 22 News in Focus. Watching 22 News in Focus. Today we're talking about preparing for back to school. My guest is Nick Collini, coordinator of the Academic Resource Center at American International College, and our topic is college life. So as students are getting ready to move back onto campus, or maybe for the first time, what if they run into an issue with their roommate? Maybe their personalities clash. What services are available to help you get the right match?
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility to happen. You know, I think this is where, you know, starting to make those adult decisions and learn to bridge into adulthood starts. You know, they're going to encourage you to talk to your roommate first, which is not necessarily an easy situation. And if that's something that doesn't get you, you know, anywhere, and you still have those disagreements, then there's a process to go through the chain to talk to your RA, your RD, and then that can lead towards potential room change, room switch, something like that.
Was there something months ago now, I'm sure, that students go through on how they get paired with a roommate? Yeah,
there's a survey that they'll fill out that, you know, will ask your standard questions and try to pair you up as best you can.
Okay, now let's talk about finances. For a lot of students, this is the first time they have financial freedom. What services are available to coach them through that?
Sure, our financial aid department does a great job. They're always available to sit down with students. There's different programs that are out there. We have the SALT program, which is a program that'll talk about their individual budgets and debt relief and all of those things. And it's a great time as well for students to build positive credit too. So maybe that first time that they actually have a credit card, and it's understanding how to use it, and it's something that is something that parents want to talk to them about the reality of financials. We talk about it on the academic side too, of if you're not doing well in classes and you have to retake them, that becomes a financial burden, whether it's to you or your parents or whoever it may be. That can start a negative spiral, but there's also that positive side that they can start building positive credit that's going to help them when they get out there.
Okay, and what opportunities are available for students who want to work on campus? Are there some jobs on campus or in the surrounding area?
Yeah, I mean, we have a federal work study program, so there's many jobs on campus, and I'd encourage students that are federal work study eligible to really look into those right away. For us, they're housed in our career services department, but they go quick. So you want to really, first day on campus, a lot of students will do it before they get on campus, look into that database to see what jobs are out there, and find one that's going to fit with whatever your schedule may be. There's also some off campus. We work with the Springfield YMCA, and we'll have students do federal work study there. And this is one of the challenges that faces the international students, is that they're restricted to simply working on campus, in most cases with their F1 visa. And with that, they're also limited that they're not federal work study eligible, so it would have to be institutional funds. So that's one of the challenges that face them, is finding different departments that have institutional money that can employ them.
For anyone who doesn't know, can you explain what a federal work study is and what qualifies you?
Sure, it's based on your family income, and based on that, the government will, or financially, will award you a certain amount of work study money that you can get a job on campus to essentially work and get paid for.
Okay, now let's talk about internships. First of all, speaking of getting paid, a lot of these internships are paid now, but what time of a student's 4 years or however long they're there do they start thinking about internships?
Typically it's in the junior and senior year. And then they have to base it on their schedule. So, it could be fall is better for, yourself to do an internship, where spring would be better for me to do an internship. So, some programs and some will have it, structured right into there, and others you'll have a little bit of a flexibility in those 2 years to decide where you want to place that internship.
Okay, and how often should a student be meeting with their academic advisor and going over where they are in this whole schedule?
I think, again, trying to develop that relationship, you want to try to go see them, somewhere between probably 3 to 5 times during the course of the semester. A semester is typically a 15-week window, so you want to get to campus and go, for a new student, introduce yourself, say hello, ask any questions you might have, allow them to get to know you, and at the same time they're going to want to meet you and ask you some questions about you so that they can try to help you in the most appropriate way. And then every student's different. I mean, some students, have a clear path to where they're going and don't need as much support, but I always think it's a good idea just to kind of stop in and say hello, see how things are going, and that's from both sides, both from the advisee side and the advisor side.
Okay, and you were mentioning during one of the breaks that you guys are really trying to get local students as well. You get a lot of students from across the country or other countries, but what are you doing to get students from the greater Springfield region, Western Massachusetts?
Yeah, it's just been a big push in this area, so that's just been an area of emphasis in our admissions department, and they've dedicated a lot of resources to reaching out to these local areas. They also talked about how they had brought the Hispanic population in from Puerto Rico after the disaster, and that was something that they decided as an institution to create a scholarship for that. So they've created a really high incentive for students that were affected by that, to come in and get some extra scholarship money to help support them in that.
So do you have a lot of students that also commute at AIC?
Yes, yeah, we have a good population, especially with our nursing and health science programs. We'll get a lot more non-traditional students as well. So it's a pretty decent size of commuters as well.
Okay, for young freshmen coming in, I know you keep going back to the relationships you form. I think freshmen oftentimes, if they're not living too far away from home, have a tendency to go back home on the weekends and get back into what's comfortable. But how important is it to make new friends?
It's extremely important. I mean, you want to engage the school. If you don't have some level of engagement with it, you're not going to feel like you're a part of it. And that's really critical, and that's where I would really emphasize parents to help that and to make them stay at school, not let them come home. And also, this is their chance to work on having them work towards adulthood and make those decisions, make those phone calls, send the email. But also be intrusive at the same point of asking questions of how are things going. Give me some more detail on that. Good is not a good answer. Ask for those details. So, but they need to establish that, and they need to have and feel an engagement to the college to make it feel like it's theirs. Otherwise, especially commuters fall into that where they're just there back and forth for the classes and they don't feel as like a part of the community. And that's what we want, is we want to have a community atmosphere.
All right, now what advice do you have for parents? You just mentioned parents. It can be a rough transition for parents as well. What do you recommend?
Just like the doctor said, the students are going to be fine. More often than not, the parents are more worked up than the students. But again, it's to try to eliminate the unknown, I think, is going to, help parents be more relaxed and help students be more relaxed. So the more they know about the school and what's going to happen and what they're going to do when they get there, and again, eliminate things that they don't know about. The unknown brings anxiousness. So the more you can get rid of that, the more relaxed they'll be. And again, encourage them. So they're going to be okay. Both of you are going to be okay. And then again, be intrusive. Ask questions. Let them know that you're there for support and in a positive manner.
Okay, now let's talk about course load. If students find themselves really just getting behind, do you guys recommend maybe cutting back a course? I'm sure it depends on the student, but what services, or I'm sure that's with the counselor, right? Is that something they work through with?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's all different tracks. There's decisions to be made whether you stay in a class and really try to struggle through it and kind of see what happens versus, withdraw from that class and maybe drop from 15 credits to 12. As an incoming student, what we'll do is lessen their course load. So we give them 12 to 13 credits, which is one class less than they'll take the rest of their career. And that just kind of allows them to focus on those 4 classes and not have that extra load, and it gets made up kind of automatically. But your other semesters, you kind of have those decisions as to if it's not going well, withdrawing. You could take a class during the summer. You could always take a class during the summer to, kind of continue that process and still take 4 classes as you move forward. And that's something that sometimes is popular with the athletes, so that they can, while they're in season, only have to take the 4 instead of the 5 classes.
All right, anything else you think college students should know as they prepare to head back?
No, I think it's just enjoy it. It is a time of anxiousness and excitement, but just try to take some deep breaths, enjoy the experience you're going through it, and it's a great time, in a person's life.
All right, we'll have the last word for you after the break. Stay with us. You're watching 22 News in Focus. Watching 22 News in Focus. Today we've been talking about how to prepare for a smooth back-to-school transition, whether you have students going to kindergarten or college. That's our program for today. We want to thank our guests for joining us and thank you at home for watching. If you missed any of it, you can watch it in full on our website, wwlp.com. From all of us here at 22 News, we wish you a wonderful Sunday.